pace so bright, so neat. Folding papers, color sweet. Digital dreams with just one click. Craft along, get your fix.
Alright, hello everybody. Hope you're doing well today, and we're ready for the holidays with our gingerbread lollipop holder. So that's what we're going to assemble today. Super cute, great gift for all of those extra people that you have to buy something simple for. You can make them some cute little gingerbread cookie lollipop holders. So I'm going to pull the lollipop out of here. But before I do that, you can see, I'm going to snap this back up. You can see from the side and the back, really sturdy. This sits in there really well. And I'm using a pretty large lollipop. These are like the largest ones I've seen. So they're great for lollipops that are round, but you can, of course, put a nice little lollipop that is flat in there as well. And then I'm just going to wiggle that down there. It also holds pretty tight, so you could still see the little lollipop in there, and it's staying in pretty secure. All right, let me show you the inside of this. Let me just pull this out. It's got a little insert in here that holds that lollipop sturdy, and then I added some little Velcro dots to really secure this and give it a little professional look. But once again, this is great for your teachers. You can't forget your teachers, your colleagues, your friends. You can just put a little note on that lollipop just to say, hey, Merry Christmas, thank you for all that you do, glad you're my colleague, great teacher, whatever you want. So I'm going to set this aside and show you what we have here and some of the things that we need. So the only thing you're going to need is some liquid glue, a scraper tool to get some sharp edges on our score lines, and some glue dots, or I'm sorry, some Velcro dots. And that's what you could see what I used in here. Obviously they're optional. It does stay open. You know, sits up pretty well. However, I would add those. I really don't think they should be optional because it really gives it that professional look. Okay, so what else do we have here? We have the base. We have our little mouth, you know, that, and our icing. Those are the smallest pieces, so that will take a little bit of time to glue on there. Other than that, we have our scarf. This is the front of the scarf. This is the back of the scarf. This is our insert, and I'll show you what to do with that later. And then we have our body pieces. So you have a choice of either doing two faces, you can see, or you can do one front and one back. And we're going to get started with putting the base together and our insert. So the first thing we want to do is put our score lines together, or get them nice and sharp. So I did one already so that I could fold it. I'm going to take my scraper tool, and you're going to notice that you can see some score lines on the inside of here. It's hard to see in this, but I'm just going to go right into that corner and then just make sure that I fold that nice and crisp, and then we're going to give it that little sharp scrape. Okay, that way it will sit up really nice and sturdy. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, I'll put that aside. I don't know if you can see the score lines on here, but this is curved so that it fits inside and you're not going to be able to see that insert, all right? But it's still going to give that security. So there are score lines, and you're just going to, again, use your scraper tool. And this one's a little tricky because it has that really thin piece right there that you want to push up and bend. So get that scraper tool first to start it in that score line, just to help you out so you're not bending that paper the wrong way. And then get a nice good scrape on that and do the other side. So once again, I'm just putting that scraper tool in that score line and then folding this back, especially in that weak center area. Okay. All right, now we're going to set this aside. This is actually going to sit this way, okay? So I'm going to set that aside for now, and we'll get to that later. Okay, so first thing, what we're going to do is add some of our pieces together so we can just pop them right on here. So you can see I have this scarf all ready to go, but I want to show you two different ways. Because I'm going to add a little glitter, I did not have any glitter cardstock in red, so I want to give it a little sparkle for Christmas. So I'm using a red permanent vinyl for this. So I'll show you how to do that in case you don't have some glittery cardstock. But I'm first going to do it with the paper because most of you are going to use paper. So it's very simple. You're just going to always take this piece that has more holes in it, and I'm going to flip that over so I know it matches this way. I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to add my glue to this. And I really just like to outline this. Some of these areas are really intricate. So I'm just going to be careful here. And that's why a fine tip on your glue is really important to have if you're doing something like this. I did widen these areas. This is an older version. I did widen them for those who might have some difficulty cutting out intricate areas. So this cuts out fine on mine, but as long as you have a sharp blade and a sticky mat, even the intricate details should cut out fine. So I'm going to flip this over, and I'm putting the edges down on the bottom. I'm going to start with this edge to edge of the scarf. Whoops. And then I'm going to put this in those three little curves there, and it should fall right into place. And I am using some liquid glue so I can kind of wiggle that around a little bit, and you shouldn't see any red on the back. It should fit perfectly. Okay, so that is the scarf that will be popped right on there. However, I do want to show you how to add some vinyl if that's something you're going to choose to do. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure, now I can't change the position of this the way I could change the paper. I can turn the paper any which way I want on most of the papers that I'm using. However, this one I can't. So the large part of the scarf has to go on the right. So knowing that, I'm going to first use some transfer tape, and I'm going to peel this off and put that right on there. And I'm making sure that the base is going in the correct direction as well. Okay, that was where I was starting with, but I got a little sidetracked with the transfer tape. So I'm laying down this transfer tape, and it's okay even if I don't get a little on there. That's fine. Let me burnish this so that I can really get a nice peel on this. Now, this type of vinyl is super, super thick. I could probably have just pulled this off and used it as a sticker, but I want to make sure that it goes on really, really nicely and perfect. So having this little extra transfer tape is going to allow me some time to kind of wiggle it around to the perfect position. Let me just move this over so you can really see what I'm doing. I'll zoom in here. I'm just getting the three curves. That's where I'm starting with, and I'm just tapping that down there and getting it in the perfect position. There we go. Beautiful. Love the glitter. I don't know if you could see this in the camera, but that's super glittery. You can see the difference when I put them side by side, how glittery that is, and it looks so pretty. Love this. It's going to look great on there, and I really like that red, the deep red. The second thing I'm going to do is the back scarf. All right, all done with that, and I'm going to use the little shiny mouth later as well, but we have this ready to go. So the first thing we're going to do is glue on, now that I have these together, we're going to glue these on our base. The way they're going to go is it has a shadow underneath to give it a little three-dimensional tone. So I'm not trying to make it flat, but you can see it won't fit, right? Because it's not meant to fit. It's supposed to make it look like it's the cookie's coming off, or that you can see the thickness of the cookie. So because I have dots in the eyes, I'm going to flip this over and glue this one. All right, so we have the glue on here. Now what I'm going to do is flip this over, and we're going to line this up. I'm going to put this sideways so I can fit it better. And I'm just going to line the tip of the head up and the little tips of the hands. Once I have the head and the hands in place, the rest should fall where it's supposed to be. Okay, there we go. Looks good, and we just have that little shadow coming out here, which we want. So now we can put our little scarf on, and all I'm going to do is add some glue to the other side of this. All right, so we have this glued, and it's just going to go side to side right under his chinny chin chin there. And it will go over this area where the lollipop is exposed, but that's okay. If the lollipop pushes through, it'll just give it some dimension. Super sparkly. Let's put the other side on. And we're going to go once again with the plain back. So this will look like the back of the gingerbread. We can put another face on there. So if, for instance, if you wanted to make one face happy, you can make the other one a frowny face, okay? And it's a little long, so you could cut it off, but you would have one smiling and one frowning, okay? So that's an option. All right, so once again, we're going to just use the back of this. And because I have this shaded already, I know that this is the side that I'm going to glue. So let's get the glue on, and once again, you can outline the edges and then just fill it in. Okay, once again, I'm going to put this sideways and just line up the head and the arms right at the top here. Just wiggle that around and make sure it's in place. All right, now we're going to add the back of the scarf here, and then just tuck that right from side to side, make it even. Got the back, we've got the front, and let's add some of the icing on there. But before that, let's add his mouth. And this one, I'm just going to peel this off because this is very thick vinyl. So I'm just going to try to put this even. I'm going to do this sideways so that I can get that middle section where I want it. Make his mouth lower. Before I commit to it, I'm just going to look at it for a second. I think I like it. And there he goes. We're committing. It's stuck. It's not moving. All right, now, so what I have here is the icing. And one of the things with the icing, I'm using some sparkly icing, but you're going to notice that these are different sizes, some of the pieces. So some are bigger and some are smaller. It's very, very hard to tell. You can really only tell when they're next to each other, which are bigger and which are smaller. So if you get it wrong, don't worry about it. They will fit regardless because it is really so faint. Okay, so the smaller ones go on the hands, the bigger ones go on the feet. Very simple. Okay, so I'm putting the smaller ones by the arms, the larger ones by the feet. Let's pull this around, and then we're ready to just glue them on. Okay. All right, first things first, I'm just going to flip this over, and it's much easier if I just do this in my hand and then pop it right on there. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right around there. So I'm going to use a jewel picker here and to turn this over, and it'll be a lot easier for me to use. And if you have tweezers, this is a really good time to use some tweezers to help you pick this up. So I'm going to leave these over here because it's a big help. You can even use the tweezers to kind of hold it into place while you're doing this. So you can add your glue. That way you're not going to get glue all over your fingers. Much better, much easier to put that in. All right, so we have all of our sugary icing on there. We've got our glittery scarves on there. So we are almost ready. Now, before I add the insert, one of the things I did not do on here is you can actually add some eyes to this. So I'm gonna pull out one of my pens, and these are glaze pens. If you've never used them before, glaze pens add like a little shimmer to this. So what I'm gonna do, since I have a lot of glittery stuff going on here, I'm gonna also add some pizzazz, and it'll make the eyes stand out. So it has a little cap on the end, and this is just like a piece of wax or plastic that seals it, and I keep this in here so it doesn't leak. I have a whole pack of these that I use, and I love them because it gives a little shine to things, and you'll see what it does. So rather than using a flat marker like a Sharpie, I'd rather use this, and it'll fill it in. So I'm going to show you what it does, and it's like using paint. You don't have to use a lot of it, but it really just adds a little glimmer and shine. It comes out like liquid paint. So I'm going to give it a minute to dry. After it dries, what we're going to do is add our insert. Okay, so I'll be back in a second after this dries. All right, so it's dried enough, and you can see the difference with the two gingerbread, how, you know, I mean, it's fine just leaving the darkness, the dark brown in the back, but this really adds a little pizzazz, makes his eyes stand out, and with everything else shimmering, it looks really great. Now, just so you know what I used in here in case you want to do something similar, is for the icing, to give it a little sugary look, I used a glitter cardstock that looks like this. Now, I got this at Dollar Tree, and you know, I'm not a big fan of Dollar Tree, to be honest, but I tried this glitter paper, and it comes in packs of 4. So you have black, gold, silver, and the white. And I've been using these. It's super thick. And if you put the setting for your Cricut machine on glitter paper, it cuts beautifully. I really have to say, I've been pleasantly surprised that this is some high quality cardstock, where I went back and bought some more. It's hard to get. It's not always in stock, but if you see it, it really is a great deal. You're getting 4 for $1.25, which I could go to any kind of craft store, and you're never going to get good quality 12 by 12 cardstock for that price, because it comes out to about 31 cents per sheet. And so it's really great, and it's really nice quality. And especially for this season, it gives it that little glimmer and pizzazz that you need or would want to, you know, jazz up some of your designs. All right, so I'm adding this insert in here, and it has the curve so that you don't see it between the gingerbread's legs there. So the way you're going to add this is you're just going to glue the sides of this, and be generous with the glue, because this is where the lollipop is really going to fit through. So this is going to get most of the tension, and you don't have to put the insert in there. It will work fine without it, but this really adds the sturdiness that you need. So what you're going to do is, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can have it stand up, and in that crease where the score line is, that's where these are going to go. However, I like to do it where it's like laying down. So I'm going to put this straight for a minute so you can see what I'm doing. I'm actually just going to lay it in between, centering it, and it should fit perfectly on each end. It's just a small hair shorter than this center piece, okay? But you want to put it flush with that score line. So just make sure you're able to still close it. All right, so give it a second. I'm just going to get any glue off that leaked out. Okay, so give that a second. Hold that down, get that firm, and in the meantime, then I'm going to turn it this way because I work better with my right hand. Then I'm folding this back down, and I'm going to generously add glue to the other side. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to flip this up, and when it is, I'm going to hold this down with my fingers here, and I'm getting this right into that score line. So I want to put a little bit, not serious pressure, but just hold it in place. And then I'm going to flip this side, my right side of the gingerbread, up so that it matches. And then just give a little pressure so that it sits down on the ground. And then use your fingers to get it against the paper, okay? So you can see from the side there what it looks like. You're going to get that square and then just stick your finger in there and hold that for a minute. Not a full minute, but as long until your glue dries. It's always good to use a good quality glue. I'm using the Art Glitter glue, and it just has the perfect flow, I should say. And it dries clear. It gives you enough time that you can move things around, but it doesn't take long to really adhere. So the kind of glue you use is worth it. Last but not least, we're going to add our Velcro dot. So I'm just going to close this, fold that in half, and peel away one side of this, okay? And then I'm gonna peel the other side off. I don't know if you can see, but I'm just putting this at the top and centering it in the head. And then I'm going to close this and match it up with the top and give it a little, I don't know if the eyes are dry, so I'm going to be careful. I'm going to give it a little push on there just to get it to stick. Now, the first time I open this, you just want to be careful because sometimes you can see like it's peeling off. And then I'm just gonna tap that in there and then I'll reseal it and then just give it another little try. Perfect. Okay, now it's time to put your lollipop in there. So if you have a lollipop such as this one and you're putting it through, now I made the hole in the insert bigger so that it will allow you to put like some of the thicker area in there. And this does two purposes, the insert. It's really important to use this because the first thing it's going to do is keep the lollipop steady. You have two pieces holding it from wiggling it. So it's not just one at the end because that's flimsy and goes back and forth. But if you have two areas, then it's bracing it from flipping back and forth. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it's allowing the candy part to sit up higher. So it's giving it a place to rest. So when I put this in there, technically the candy part should sit on that area. However, this is a little thick. If you have candy that is wrapped kind of thick, just take your scissors and unwrap it a little bit, not a lot, but especially with these gourmet candies, this happens, and then just trim it a little bit, okay? It's not gonna hurt anything. You're not opening the candy. You're just trimming back some of this. And that actually flew across the room there, so that's perfect. It's at the end of the table. Now when I put this back in there, it's going to fit literally perfect. So I can close this. It's going to go out his butt and his belly, and you can see it from the side what it looks like. Really looks great. We've got the back of him, we've got the front of him. So he's all set and ready to go. You can, like I said earlier, you can use flat lollipops as well. So I'm going to stick this one in there. Same thing goes if it's too thick, then you can always take some off. This one, I'm going to pull this back out. This one is sealed a little high, so I'm just going to twist it a little bit better and then set that back in there so it sits a little bit lower. Perfect. That's really how I want it. You can see it's not going anywhere. These are really sturdy, okay? So you can see what it looks like from the side. And especially if you're using a flat one, this Velcro is going to be important. So looks great, looks fantastic. Loving it, loving it. Again, this is a great gift. And if you want to add on, we have a little snowman here, so you can find that design online, as well as our reindeer. So we have a couple other designs to check out and check out the assembly for them. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed spending time with you today, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.